I think she should have raised this mic up. Looks kind of stupid, but it sounds better. Maybe I won't get all that pop, pop, pop. If I do, I'll pop you. Oh, 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 oh. Yeah. What do you mean I can't pop you? I'm bigger than you. Idiot. Oh, 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 oh. Take that to the CEO. Yeah, can you believe what that guy told me today? Oh, you can? Okay. Let's see you do a better show. He had the nerve to say that to Grumpy, knowing my temper. But I let him off easy. I just told him, do something else with your time. Speaking of time, we're at 1 minute, 40 seconds. 1 minute, 47, 1:48, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 8, 9, 2 minutes. 2 minutes and counting. Hopefully we'll have some guests today, and the storms didn't screw people up. I forgot to check the weather report. Yeah, I was going to do that today too. Check the weather report down south. Or the news. I didn't do either one. Well, we'll see what happens. We'll see who shows up. Then we'll get a weather report. Okay, coming close to 3 minutes. Okay, 3 minutes. And counting. We might end up doing a show of me talking to you again. Oh, perish the thought. I'd rather go back and talk to the idiot in the store. Oh, oh, oh. Do you believe that? Do you actually believe that? I was shocked. Although he's new to YouTube, so although I do have something that he can watch. I accidentally came across it today. Oh, jeez. He'll watch that and he'll come back and go, hey, I'm a loyal, grumpy follower. I couldn't believe that today. I could not believe that channel. It was ridiculous. And it runs like 24/7. That's well, I don't know if the show runs, but the camera is on 24/7. You know, people will put anything on YouTube. It just goes to, and what's even worse is people will watch that stuff. I couldn't believe the loyal following. It had like 4,000 subscribers. I was like, oh, jeez. Unbelievable. Well, we're at 7:05. I'll go to 7:06 and then we're going to start. Here we go. 7:05 and 30 seconds. We don't get a guest in 15 seconds. We're starting the show. Here we go. Okay, we're going to start. From the WDWL TV multiplex, live from the research library of the newsroom, with great anticipation, we bring you the pride of the station, the grumpy old man, me, and the grumpy disco vulture. How about you take your bow? Take your bow. Oh, you actually did it pretty good today. All right, I'll cut you down to wearing that 3 more weeks instead of a month. Now back in your spotlight. Okay, there you go. Look at the camera. Greetings, friends. We're winging it today because we don't have a live audience, at least not in the studio. I'm sure we have a live audience somewhere out there in YouTube land, but so far in the studio, nobody. That's all right. Takes me back to the days of me talking to the bird or myself. We might not have the studio audience because they had suspected tornadoes in one area and there was a little flooding in another. So, and then my producer can't produce anymore because of the time change over in England. Yeah, right now it's midnight. So the show now starts a little too late for my producer. So he might pop in now and then, but yeah, with it being midnight, it's a little late for him because he has to do that thing called work, which I don't do. I was supposed to do. I was supposed to change the faucet in the bathroom today. Got everything. And then I was like, well, if I change the faucet, then I got to change the toilet seat and I got to change the shower curtain because everything's got to match. So I said, screw it. Hey, Jenny's here. That's all right. Hey, you know, it YouTube really pisses me off because I will find that at least twice a week I don't get notifications for YouTube content creators that I want to watch. So I see this shit happens to me. But yeah, there's been times that if I don't think about it, I'm like, wait a minute, so-and-so was doing a YouTube at 3 o'clock. And then I show up late. A thing that really it ticks me off is I follow Stoned Vet. And lately, no matter what I do, I haven't been getting notifications. They tell you unsubscribe and then resubscribe and you'll get your notifications. Well, that shit don't work. So, since you didn't get yours, no problem. It's something with YouTube. I don't understand, but yeah, it's nothing with your phone or your settings. It's a YouTube problem. So at least I have one person live in the studio. I forgot to check the weather down in the southern area to see how things went. Although Gainesville. Gainsborough. I know there's a borough. Is it Gainsborough? I had it wrong the last time. Yeah, Gainsborough. Gainsborough, Tennessee. Cook County. I forgot to check the weather and see if anything went haywire down there. Especially considering they had tornado warnings. Maybe Kathy will pop in and give us a weather report. How do you like the library background? I don't know whether I kind of like it. Hey, for $3, I'm not, believe me, I'm cheap. And I was like, wow, $3. I'll order it. And it actually looks better than in the picture. But wait until you see the other four. Oh, those will really blow your mind. But I couldn't pass this one up. For $3, what I'll do is I'll put normal light on it tomorrow. Because you can't really make out, the color. Well, you can kind of see the flowers. I just didn't want to change the filters in the damn lights. I was lazy. But tomorrow we'll put regular light on it. It is kind of pretty. And the other 4 will definitely be using regular light because they are cool. And they were only, let's see, this one was $3. 2 of the other ones were $3.85 and 2 were $4.03 or something. I don't spend a fortune for these. This thing was listed originally at $30. Talk about a ripoff. I mean, it's silk screen polyester fabric is what it is. But, these companies, they try to charge a gazillion dollars. They think something... I don't spend over 5. 5 is my limit. I don't care how much I like it. There's one I'm waiting. So far it's dropped from $28 to $17. I'm hoping it's going to drop. Usually when they get down to like 5 left in stock, they start wanting to get the hell, clear the shelf. This one I bought, it said 3 left in stock. And evidently there were 2 other people like me waiting for the price to drop because they all sold out. Yeah, this makes 25 backgrounds now. I got 25 of these different. Oh no, wait a minute. 26. Oh, I forgot. I've got 1 more coming. And that one was $2.03. Wait till you see the last one. I'm saying the last one now. If I see something on clearance in the $5 and below area, I might be buying more. I almost have enough backgrounds to do 1 every day. The whole thing is, I have a green screen. I fell for that one. They called it a green screen. I ordered it. It's a big fucking piece of green material. You would think maybe grommets in it or something. No, it's a big green piece of material. That's all it is. And I downloaded the other part of the program from Prism that has a shitload of green screen backgrounds. So, I spend money buying all these. I got freebies. Oh, I just haven't hung the green screen up yet. It's still in the package. I was kind of pissed off. I was expecting, like the old movie screens back in the day when people had movie projectors and or slide projectors, and the screens had that glitter type stuff on it. Well, when I saw green screen, I thought it was a screen. The big fucking green piece of material. That's all it is. I could have gone to if we had a fabric shop, I could have gone to a fabric shop instead of spending $30. Yeah, $30. It's a big goddamn piece of green material. That's all it is. It isn't even edged. You know, I thought maybe it would be edged with some grommets to hang it on my crossbar. No. And I wish I knew somebody that would sew, because I would like to have an edge sewn on it. You know, fold over, and it's a big piece of green material. That's all it is. And it's not even a special green. So one of these days I'll hang it up and I'll screw with the green screen backgrounds. Although the problem with the green screen backgrounds is sometimes if you move, it's just green. You know, it don't follow you enough. Oh, God, I love that movie. Oh, I had a crush on Molly Ringwald. Oh, Jesus Christ. I love that movie. Matter of fact, I have it on DVD. Now I'm going to have to dig it out and watch it again. Yeah. When that movie went bonkers, I remember the director saying, I didn't have shit for a budget. Matter of fact, in the cafeteria, I'm pretty sure that was a cafeteria where they had to do their Saturday detention. They rented a school cafeteria rather than build one, because they didn't have the funds to build one. And, of course, they had to sign all kinds of paperwork. We'll fix the damage, like when he fell through the ceiling and all that shit. Yeah, that was a low-budget movie, and it made bucks. Not to mention it put Molly Ringwald on the map as a movie star. Oh, yeah, I had a crush on her. Oh. I didn't go as far as having posters, you know, but, yeah. Old Grumpy had a crush on old Molly. I'm trying to think who the other girl was. She wasn't too bad either, but, oh, Molly. I'm going to have to watch it again, because I can't remember where they were when they fell through the ceiling. I remember that. They were trying to escape or some shit. They ended up coming through the ceiling. Because I remember Molly having lunch, and she took out her sushi. Everybody was like, what the hell's that shit? Although I couldn't see her with that goofy dude. It went opposite of what I thought in the ending. But Ali Sheedy, yeah. And you say you're bad at trivia. Yeah, good old Allie. But the producer and the director were utterly blown away by the popularity of that movie. And I think the reason was it kind of was a movie for all ages. Because I remember having to serve detentions myself. And it kind of was a movie for all generations. Oh, I would have never thought of him I would have never thought of him, his name, that name left me. That one, yeah, Judd. What statistics did they come up with? Because I know it was a real low budget and they never expected it to. They figured it would end up in the class with the B movies. And then all of a sudden, blah, I got some problem going on with this microphone. It didn't want to adjust. I had to flip it down. When I was talking into this end, it was like muffled tonight. So I don't know what the hell I hit. Every time I put this thing over on the other mount, I screw it up. But I can't leave it here because it gets in my way. Although I should probably take that other microphone down. See, I got two of them mounted over here. I should just take that other one down and put it on the rack. And that way I could just take and swing this mic around out of the way. That's right. Yep. Yeah. That's why I say it was a perfect movie for all generations because we all remember when we were, in high school, and, we're watching it as adults. It was a fun movie, though. I was talking to a friend of mine today. He's a college professor. He teaches journalism. And he gives these pop quizzes, which the class hates. And he told me, he said, there's names that journalists should be familiarized with and should know. And he said, it's not just current events. He said sometimes events back in history come into play at times. So he said, I had to write all this shit down. I can't read my writing now. Yeah, he said that there's certain names that aspiring journalists should know. So, here we go. Alzheimer's. One of the answers, an imported beer. Now, these are college undergrads. Alzheimer's. Oh, it's an imported beer. Apartheid. A building in Athens. Fidel Castro. A Palestinian leader whose wife likes shoes. These are our future. Okay, the term ICBM. Intercontinental Business Machines. Well, they had some of it right. Vladimir Lenin, a concert pianist. This is our future. Sandra Day O'Connor. Actress on LA Law. And OSHA. A killer whale at SeaWorld. This is our future. Our future. This is our education today. Oh, Jesus. Oh, yeah, I believe that one. I believe that one. Like I say, the kids coming out of schools today are stupid. It's scary. But this is what our education system has turned into since we left school. When we were in school, there were really stringent standards. Those have all gone out the window. It's sad. I mean, ever since this No Child Left Behind bullshit started, and, you know, a girl that I graduated with, I probably talk to her 5-6 times a year. She was a teacher in the Cleveland school system. She was a junior high teacher. And she said, out of a 45-minute class period, she probably wasted 20 minutes just getting the goddamn kids to settle down. She said every day was a disaster. Matter of fact, she wanted to continue teaching and then go on the substitute teacher list. When they offered her the buyout, she took it and ran. She said, kids nowadays, And she's been away probably because she continued working after 65. I want to say she took the buyout at 68 years old. She wanted to keep going because there's no age limit, with teachers. And she said, I couldn't stand it anymore. So she's been, 5 years? And I can imagine today it's worse. Oh, yeah. Now, my buddy who lives up the street was my high school math teacher. And he said when they started teaching this new math, what's new math? 2 plus 2 equals 4. No, new math said 2 plus 2 equals 3, but at least you tried to solve the problem. What? 2 plus 2 equals 4, not 3. But no. As long as you attempted to solve the problem, the answer was correct, even though it was wrong. And I don't know if they have social studies anymore, if they have geography class, if they have, history. One of these days, I'm going to talk to one of the high school kids because they all stop at my little Indian store to get their snacks before they go home. One of these days, I'm going to ask them, I said, what kind of curriculum do you have today? Because my high school is now a specialized, everything is specialized. My high school is a business school. And then they have, music schools and art schools. And it's not like when we were in school. But what they're turning out is scary. How half of these kids get diplomas amazes me. Well, she probably did, but I've lost a few. So it's possible that she would have been like 87, but I lost a few, so she might be number 85 right now. I've had a couple people bail on me. Well, what's her name? Lucy, who was blinded by diamonds, her channel got deleted, so there went a subscriber. And then one of the guys I talked to up at my variety store, he bailed. So she probably is number 85 now, where she would have been 87. I'm here. whether, is that Kathy in disguise? Kathleen Perlman? Are you my Kathy from Kaiser Meats? Oh, okay. Welcome, Mom. I've had a couple people that they forget what account they're on. I thought maybe that was Kathy from. Well, I'm glad you're here. Now you get to see in person the idiot that your daughter follows. The subscriber from my variety store, I ran into him today. And I said, what do you think? He said, you're more boring than watching paint dry. I says, well, thanks for the compliment. And he unsubscribed. Yeah, he said I'm boring as shit. I said, what were you looking for? A variety show like, back in the day? Lawrence Welk, Polka Varieties, Hee Haw. I said, what were you expecting? I told you. Whatever comes to mind, we talk about. And I said, I interact with my chat. He said, well, you're fucking boring. I said, okay. He's new to YouTube. His grandson was like, whoa. Because he approached me in the store a couple of weeks ago. He said, do you know this YouTube stuff? I said, what about this YouTube stuff? Do you know people can go on YouTube? I said, yeah. He said, no, you're not getting the point. I said, well, what's the point? He said, like my grandson. He opens his laptop and he goes on YouTube. And he does things. I said, oh, really? I said, well, I go on YouTube and I do things too. Well, who are you? So I told him, WDWL TV. So he subscribed, watched 2 shows, unsubscribed, and said I was boring as shit. Can't please everyone in the world. Yeah, I got the frame, but I'm having a problem getting the back to stay on the frame. This canvas is just a hair thicker than what this frame takes. So I have to figure a way of getting the back on the frame without screwing anything up. Because I can't hang it up without the back. Because the back's got the gizmo, So I got to work on that. I mean, I put the canvas in the frame, and I could hang it up that way. But if it pops out of the frame, it could get damaged. And the back, it's got these clips that go into like the edge of the rail on the back of the frame. And I can't get it to compress enough. So I've got to try to figure something out. I got an idea. they make these things. I've seen them at the homeless depot. They're like little triangles that would go like on the edge of a cabinet door. They're gold and they got a little cutout, to make the edge of a door look fancy. Well, what I'm thinking of getting those and mounting them on the frame, and then they'll hold all four corners of the canvas. Because I don't want to drill no holes or do none of that shit. But the canvas is just a hair too big. And it's stapled across the back. So I can't shave the wood without taking out 400,000 staples and then maybe screwing the canvas up. So that's a project. But it is in the frame. I just can't hang it up right now. I can't get the fucking back on it. I put the clips in at the top, and then I go to put the clips in the bottom, and the top clips pop out. Or I'll put the clips on the side, and then this side pops out. I just got aggravated with it. There probably is an easy way of getting it together. Maybe if I can get a clip to hold in each corner and then super glue it. That was plan B. Start with one clip, super glue it. Then go to the opposite corner, insert the clip, and super glue it. And then go to this corner and super glue it. And then, I got to diagonal it. I'll figure something out. I was just so pissed off because when I bought the frame, it showed it with a canvas in it. And then, of course, it showed it with the background, the back on it. Now, I don't know if the back was on when the canvas was in, but the picture showed the canvas inside the frame. And I was like, okay, that's why I ordered it. My luck. Well, that's plan C. Tape. Duct tape. Just each corner. Because there might be a time I want to take and change frames. So, yeah, that's, like I say, there's a multitude of ways of getting the back on. I got so pissed off that I just put it aside. I said, screw it. I order something thinking it's going to be perfect, and then it's screwed up and I get pissed off. Because sometimes I have no patience with things. That's why I bought it, Jenny. The guy assured me it would fit. Well, it does fit. He didn't tell me the back would stay on. He just said, yeah, the canvas will fit in the frame. I guess I didn't ask detailed questions like, once the canvas is in the frame, will the back go on and stay? And of course he would have said yes, because he wants to sell a frame. Duct tape and WD-40, that had to be an interesting conversation. Didn't Nomad know that duct tape existed and WD-40 existed? Do they have duct tape over in England or WD-40? I would think so. My God, they've got every product on earth over there. You know, Kellogg's is over there, and Post is over there, and it's amazing how many American companies are over there. You know, Kathleen, I haven't even gone that far yet to ask him if I can return it and if he's got a different solution. I I was working on it on Saturday, and I just got so pissed off that I just put it aside. So tomorrow, I'm going to email it. I'm going to say, hey, and I'm going to take pictures too. I'll say, hey, how come I can't get the back on this thing? And if he goes, oh, I'll have to send you a different frame. Okay. Well, they call them by different names. Although, are the Fruit Loops themselves different? I know, like, we call it shredded wheat, and over there they call them Weetabix. It's the same thing. Shredded wheat. We call it shredded wheat. They call it Weetabix. You know, them Brits are strange. Well, Kathleen, before I do anything more, I'm going to talk to this guy. I'm going to ask him. I say, hey, you're a business. Let me call you. Give me your business number and let's discuss this. Or I'll Skype him. I've got Skype. I'll say, hey, get on. Let's get on together here and I'll show you the problem I'm having before I destroy the frame. Well, yeah, because we use, what's the one dye that they banned? Red dye number 7 or something. Yeah, they would do natural than us doing that artificial coloring bullshit. They got a lot of different production rules and stuff over there. Oh yeah, my name is well known with Schwabel's bread and now with 5-star meats. Not to mention my people at corporate at my variety store. They know me well now. It's amazing when an assistant manager who I've never met knows who I am when I come in the store. That was shocking yesterday. I'm at the service desk. You're the guy with the hot dogs and the sausage, right? I said, yeah. Come with me. Here's your freebies. And by the way, We at the store here want to apologize. Here's buns. We know you'll need more. Just stop at the service desk when you run out of these. Thank you. Oh yeah. I'll tell you what. The regional manager in Ohio for Schwabel's Bread gave me a shitload of word salad. Well, the last thing you want to do is piss me off. So I called corporate in Pennsylvania. And I got the vice president of sales and marketing. And I told him, I said, your guy in Ohio is feeding me a bunch of word salad, making excuses. Why can't I get this bread in the damn store? And like today, I went back and there were 15 loaves. I hope they haven't noticed I haven't been buying my Jewish rye lately because I haven't had a taste for sandwiches. But that bread is there. And now my meat products are there. Well, except for 2 more. Those will be in tomorrow. So, Tim, the assistant manager, should be calling me sometime tomorrow saying, come get your other 2 free packs of sausage. I'll be right there. Yeah, I was in retail all my life. In one form or another. And I had to take a rash of shit from people. Well, now, I'm giving that shit back. Hey, nice seeing you. Hope you come back more often. So that's Mom, huh? Cool. If she doesn't come back when I get the framework done, I'll give you all the information as to what happened with it. Oh, I was so aggravated. You could see the veins in my head, trying to get the clipping over here and go to get this one and it pop out over there. I almost did want to. I was like, oh, hold on, set it aside, don't break it. I have destroyed more shit that way. You should see the one Ryobi drill that I took back to Homeless Depot. And the girl said, how come it's all broken? I said, because I threw it across the street. Well, we can't take it back that way. I said, I don't give a damn. Tell the Ryobi rep is a piece of shit. I'd go to use it, it'd stop. It's got a brand new battery. Change the battery. Let it sit for a minute or 2. Go to drill and stop. I took the battery off. Piece of shit. Then I went across the street and retrieved the broken pieces and took them up to Homeless Depot. Oh, I have no patience for shit today. And Ryobi is made in Japan, not China. Japan is still known for quality control. I was like, this is acting like a Chinese drill. I almost called Japan. The problem is they probably didn't speak English. Oh, we have American here. He angry. Hey. Evidently, they must have a bit of a problem that Kathy's not here. It must have got a little on the serious side. Either that or she's taking a rest from today. You know, to this day, Japan still operates under the old world way of operating. You know, you take their Toyota plants. First of all, you could eat off the floor in any part of that plant. Because they constantly have a crew that just, it keeps cleaning and cleaning and cleaning. And when they build their cars like under the way Rolls-Royce builds them. You know, in America, if a screw goes in the door kind of crooked, it's like, yeah, screw it. Over there, everything's got to be anything from Japan is still under very strict quality control in their manufacturing because they take pride in their stuff. If you show them something from China, oh, you ought to hear them, you know, because I got a friend whose daughter flies back and forth from here to Japan. She's a marketing rep for a toy company, and she says it's amazing their factories over there. Everybody, you know, has like the when you watch like 48 Hours and you see the forensic team with those white Tyvek suits. Everybody in the plant wears one of them, and booties and gloves, and they take pride in their. China does nothing but reverse engineering on most items. Like this pen. They will completely disassemble it. Rather than engineering and designing one, they disassemble piece by piece by piece by piece, and then they copy it. And they do that with everything, including cars. I've seen pictures where they completely disassemble a car rather than engineer and design one themselves. They will bring like say a Hyundai, and they take it apart piece by piece by piece by piece. And they photograph it, and they enter it in their computers, and then they start to manufacture parts, and then they build a car. But it's not their design, and it's not their engineering. They even take every stinking piece off that car. They just assemble it down to nothing. Parts everywhere. And each part goes to a different place, and they photo it, and they have that goofy machine that blueprints, and then they input all that information at a plant, and it stamps out parts, and then they build a car. But they didn't design and engineer it. They reversed engineer it. Same thing with flat screen TVs. That's why they build them so fast over there. They took TVs from everybody. They tore them all apart. And they were like, oh, okay, we can shortcut here, shortcut there. Here's the TV for you. Yeah, well, see, that's the bullshit with China. They will copy from everyone in the world, but God forbid you copy something of theirs. Now, it's possible with the Pokemon cards, they did design them and print them like any corporation would. But that, yeah, then they'll watermark them because they don't want you to copy their work. But man, they'll copy the shit out of everybody else. I've had too much Chinese crap over the years go haywire. That's the same with that TV. There was no way I was going to buy another goddamn TV made in China. My first choice was the Samsung, made in Mexico, or I can't remember what brand name, made in Japan. I'll take a Japanese product over a Chinese product any day. And then the thing that really pisses me off is seeing stuff that'll say made in Vietnam. I lost 6 friends in Vietnam. That country shouldn't be allowed to export shit to the United States. And the United States shouldn't import anything from Vietnam. Six guys I went to high school with didn't come back. Well, they came back in a box. Yeah, they don't want you to counterfeit their stuff, but they'll counterfeit the shit out of ours. And believe me, I wrote a blistering letter to Motorola. I never got an answer back. I didn't expect one. But I told them. I said the goddamn founder of Motorola is rolling in his goddamn grave. Or not Motorola, RCA. To think, at one time, RCA was the world leader in radios, because that's what RCA stands for, Radio Corporation of America. And then they made TVs. And they were known for nothing but quality. And I get a TV that lasts 2.5 years? I'll never buy another RCA product as long as I live. And we had RCA products growing up. My grandparents, oh, like that goddamn radio my grandmother had. Thing stood about like this high. It sat right next to the couch. Big, huge cabinet. Tubes all over in the back. They bought that thing like in, I think, 1938. And when my mother sold it to an antique dealer in 1975, it was still working. And then for me to buy an RCA TV and get 2.5 years out of it? Yeah, we're a throwaway society, but geez, let's get at least 5-10 years out of it. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I lost 7 friends. 6 of them came back in a box. And then 1 came back in about 1.5 years, and he had his own company. He had an auto repair shop that was really booming. And he finally was doing well enough. He bought himself a Corvette. And he was at the bar one night. Every Friday night, he'd take the guys to the bar. And he said, I got to go get something out of my car. Well, 15, 20 minutes went by, and they're like, where the hell's Jeff? They went out, and he was in his car with a hole right here. Because he had PTSD so goddamn bad, and the VA wouldn't do shit about it. Now, they're on top of it. But back in 79 or 80, hey, suffer, pal. Here's some drugs. Have a nice day. And nobody at the bar had any inkling. I'll tell you what, he kept that pretty well hidden. I knew about it, and of course his family did, but nobody else. And they said at the bar he was just as jovial as buying drinks. Hey, Fred just came in with his wife, set him up. And they says to his employees, I got to go get something out of the car. I'll be back. They didn't think nothing of it. How many people say, hey, I got to go out to my car? And then they were like, he'd been out in his car a long time. What the hell going on? Then they went out to his car and found out what was going on. Oh, for Christ's sake. What is with this time of night people having to goddamn bother me. Oh, somebody at the door. God damn it. Oh, Jesus Christmas. I gotta put a sign up from now on. Jesus. Oh. Marianne returning the vegetable oil. She goes, I'm sorry I'm late. I just come back from the store. Here's the vegetable oil. I told her, I said, hey, I don't use that much. Oh, I felt bad. I didn't have the heart to tell her you just interrupted another YouTube. I'm going to have to put a sign up. I'm going to print a sign tomorrow. Please do not interrupt between 7 and 9 p.m. live on YouTube. Now watch, everybody will. That's it. Oh, we're going to go screw with them. But I can't. Good thing I didn't go to the door pissed off. But I can't get angry with Marianne. And she's like that. You know, I told her, I said, hey, don't worry about it. I don't use. I said, I've got olive oil. And she come back with a bottle, you know. Well, you might need vegetable oil for something. I felt bad borrowing it. We're not talking borrowing $1 million. A goddamn bottle of vegetable oil from Dollar Tree. At least she returns things. I've had some people borrow shit. 6 months later, I'm over at their house. Can I have my saw back, please? Oh, I still have it? No, I just wanted to come over here and screw with you. Yes, you still have it. Then find out the blade's all dull. Or... Thank you. That's one thing I don't loan. Now, Marianne, yeah, tools. Because I've had too many people ruin stuff. They come over, oh, can I borrow your drill? No. Well, I'm only going to need it for a minute. No. I'll bring it right back. No. I know you have several. No. No, 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 no. And if somebody really pesters me, I give them the old corded electric one here. My old, what the hell, I can't even remember, Black & Decker that's got to be 30 years old here. Don't you have one better? Well, yeah, but you ain't getting it. I'll tell you what. I love Ryobi products. I think they're really. I have never had a Ryobi product go bad on me. I would say, well, all my power tools are Ryobi because they're all 18 volt and they take the same battery, so no matter what you got. And as far as like their drill bits and all, Home Depot has all the time. They'll have them on sale. I have got, I don't know how many sets that I bought. I walk in, I go, oh, drill bit set. Then I come home and I'm like, oh, I already got 6 of these, but that's okay. I got well, most of the time dealing with Homeless Depot now is online. Because if I walk in the store and go past the tool section, it's like, oh, a bit set for a screwdriver, you know. Then I come home and I go, oh, gee, I got 3 of them already. Do I take it back? No. Just put it in the toolbox. But as far as Ryobi power tools, oh my God. I know I have probably got 2 of everything. 2 drills, 2 circular saws, 2 sanders, you name it. Not to mention, I like the color green that they are. Safety green is what they call it. God, I hope Kathy's all right. Kind of bothers me that at least she didn't pop in and say, hey. Well, Jenny, he didn't eat it. He just added a hole above his ear. Right about there. And nobody heard it. That's the sad thing. Although there would have been anything they could have done for him anyway. I mean, if anybody had heard it and ran out to the car, just... They're getting rain down there. I'm starting to think that they must have got some strong wind down there. Maybe their power got knocked out or something. And if she's operating off a cell phone, she ain't going to want to be on here wasting the battery. That's kind of my thought. Hopefully it isn't anything more serious, but I'm kind of thinking maybe power got knocked out. I know the last thing I do is be on my cell phone with anybody unless it was something important or life-threatening. Yeah, I forgot to look. I was going to check it. Cook County, Gainsboro. I said Greensboro. I had the borough right. Then she told me Gainsboro, not Greensboro. Okay. Cook County. I had the county right. Yeah, I hope it's nothing serious. That really... Especially knowing we've crossed paths. We could have been in the same store at the same time. You know, that still amazes me. And she said because she saw that, the Ohio plate. But I can't remember how she saw. Somebody must have told her to check me out. And she saw the Ohio plate. And then we get into it, and we were in the same bakery, the same Hungarian meat store, the same funeral home, and to think we could have been standing next to one another. And not amazing. It just, out of all the thousands and thousands of YouTube channels and places on earth, and her and I could have been standing in the same square footage of floor space in a store, side by side. It boggles my mind to this day. It really does. And you know, it makes the conversation more interesting because she knows what the hell I'm talking about. If I give her a street location, she knows it. Or I give her a general area, you know, she'll know the general area. Because I told her, you know, I live down from my high school, and she's like, yeah, I know the area. What are the possibilities? It just, and then I get that asshole at the store going, you're about as boring as watching paint dry. Well, then go watch some paint dry. I'll buy you a quart. I'm going to tell him when I see him, you think I'm boring? I came across a YouTube channel today that makes me look like an Academy Award winning production. It's called Goldie's Farmyard Cam. Goldie's Farmyard Cam. The cam runs, now I don't know if she stays on, but the camera runs 24 hours a day. Today, it was goats chewing the bark off of firewood. And there were 17 people watching. It was just a pasture with goats, and they were all chewing bark off of firewood. And 17 people were watching. I had it on the other computer for an hour. No people. The camera doesn't move. Goats chewing on bark for an hour. And 17 other dummies, besides me, were watching. Now, I put it on the other computer just to see if maybe there would be something like, you know, maybe somebody drive in and pet the goats or feed the goats, explain the goats. No. There's a static camera facing a barnyard full of goats chewing on bark. Goldie's Farmyard Cam. Check it out if you want to watch goats. And he thinks I'm boring. I'm going to tell him about this one. I'll say, here, watch this one for about 8-10 hours. That's all it was. A static camera. It didn't move. You'd think maybe the camera would move to a different part of the barnyard. No. And in the foreground was a large thermometer that told me the temperature was 52 degrees. Wherever Goldie's barnyard is, goats chewing on bark, because there was firewood all over the place. Like they fell a tree and cut it up in sections. And here's 5 to 8 goats just chewing on the bark. And 17 people were watching it with me for an hour. I finally gave up and said, Jesus Christ, he thinks I'm boring? Goldie's. I happened to look over, and I always look to see what's live. Maybe thinking like Stone Vet would be on, and I see this live Goldie's Farmyard Cam, and I was like, well, this could be interesting. I clicked on it, and I was waiting for something to happen. And I said, well, I'm not going to tie up my main computer. I'll put it over on this one. The one I watched the eaglets on out in San Bernardino. Those little eaglets are getting big. So I put Goldie's over there. And I'm surfing. Nothing. Watch another YouTube video. Nothing. For an hour. I said, that's enough of watching goats. So when I see my idiot friend at the store, I'll say, here. You think I'm boring? Here, watch some goats chew on bark. It's amazing what people will put on YouTube. Goldie was like, well, gee, all these other people are on YouTube. I'll set a camera up in the barnyard by the goats, and I'll just let it run on YouTube. I forgot to look to see how many subscribers she had. I know she had more than me. I don't know, maybe the camera moves to a different part of the barnyard every day, but for an hour it was nothing but goats doing nothing but chewing on bark. They didn't do no tricks. They didn't roll over, play dead, nothing. They didn't even fight one another. I was like, oh, this could be interesting. Watch the goats headbutt each other. Nope. So like they say, start a YouTube channel, buy a camera. Voila. That's all it takes. I don't know how she come up with the idea, but I'll stick a camera out in the farmyard. People will watch my goats. I didn't bother to look to see if she had other videos. But this was boring as watching paint dry. And my friend says, I'm boring. I gotta ask him which YouTube did you watch? What night? What was the, well, I can't say what's the subject matter because we're always all over the place. But yeah, he said, you're boring. What do you expect, magic tricks? I don't know. I gotta ask him, what did you expect? A band? A live audience in my studio? Q&A session? Interviewing interesting people? What did he expect? Probably more interesting than what his grandson was doing. But I'm going to write that down, and I'm going to say, here, watch this YouTube channel and tell me what you think. And if he comes back and tells me the goats eating bark were more interesting, then subscribe to Goldie. I know he already unsubscribed to me. He told me. He said, I subscribed the first night. I was like, gee, thank you. I unsubscribed the second night. Okay. No big deal. Couldn't stick around for a week. 2 days. At least it was honest. He said, I subscribed the first night. I was like, all right. I unsubscribed the second night. I said, okay. I got grocery shopping to do. Have a nice day. And I went and got my cat treats and my delectables. Oh, them things are, oh, God, expensive. Holy shit. And I come across a new dry cat food. Now, they were eating Frisky seafood flavor. Now I got these Friskies soft and crunchy something. God, do I like that shit? They lick the crumbs out of the bowl. I picked the bowl up and I'm like, God, I don't even have to wash this. There ain't a crumb in it. You guys really like that shit. And I got the last bag today. Because I was almost out of dry food. And then, in the box, you get 12 little pouches. There's not that much in there. Little pouches. And you get 4 of tuna and whitefish, and then 4 chicken and vegetables, and 4 salmon, and two seafood, and then that chicken with vegetables. They hate the chicken and vegetables. My big fat ass will get up there. He will lick all of the gravy out of the bowl and then try to bury it. He won't eat the chicken because it's got veggies in it. And I'll hear him out there scratching. I was like, you can't bury that bowl, all right? Give it up already. And if you buy the packs individually, they're like 10 cents more a pack. Lost again. You need some new players because you're pretty good at shit that I can't think of. Either that or they must have some real off-the-wall questions. Is there like a certain subject every night? Or is it just all over the place? Like one night movie stars, and then another night history, or is it all over the place? A little late to ask, but does this mic sound better this way? Sounds better up here. And I can stay a little far away from it so that I don't get that pop. Because if it sounds better this way, I'll leave it this way, even though it looks goofy to me. Although it's the way they have them in radio stations. Oh, all over the place. So you can't prep. They say like tomorrow's going to be movies from the 50s. They just throw all kinds of shit at you. That ain't fair. Even Jeopardy has categories. I could not play Jeopardy because in the heat of the moment, I would forget to ask in a question. That drives me crazy, you know. What does a cat have on it? What is fur? I would just be, fur. Please. Sorry. You gotta ask in the form of a question. Oh. Okay, here's a question. What am I doing here then? Yeah, see, that's unfair. They, you know, they should have categories so that you can at least know what you're going to be answering, but you know, to throw a question at you like, what's the population of Puerto Rico? Then asked, how do you make green paint? Blue and yellow. Ding. I wouldn't be good at trivia. Not at this age. I'm lucky I can remember my name. But just, just to be all over the place like that, that's kind of not fair. Oh, see, that's not. I never even heard of that. How can you ask questions about something half the population probably don't even know what the hell it is? That's not right. What the hell is Roblox? Never even heard of it. I'm used to Monopoly, Parcheesi, checkers. I don't have the mind for chess. I could never play chess. I watch some of these chess meets, and it is amazing. They have you hit the timer, and the guy will make a move. Bing, hit the timer. Next thing you know, the next guy is bing. I didn't even see the damn board, and he already made another move. And some chess, they move weird ways and. Up at the park, there's a little small park not that far from me. Every summer, they play chess up there. There's a group that gets together. And I'll go up to watch. And it just amazes me. Of course, I don't fully understand it. But to watch how fast some of them people can, one's outthinking the other. Like the one guy told me, he said, you're already like 3 moves ahead. I'm like, how can you think that? How you don't know which way that guy's going to move? He said, well, after you play it for so long, you know he's either going to move this way or he's going to move that way. So you already have a counter move in your mind. I said, there ain't that much up in this mind, let alone a counter move. I don't know who Jimmy Hart is. Probably a name that I've heard. I'm drawing a blank on Jimmy Hart. I'd have missed that question for sure. I'm going to have to email Nomad in the morning. I think he knows how to get a hold of Kathy. I'm going to have to see if he can message her somehow to see how things are down there. Although, if it's a power outage, I'm sure she ain't checking her cell phone to see what's going on Discord. Well, see, I didn't follow wrestling because it's so phony. Now, in 1948, when my mother was a pro wrestler, it was real. When they threw you across the ring, you felt it. Not like the shit today. I keep forgetting to ask my sister. I want one picture of her in her wrestling garb. Because I know there's a bunch of them of her in the ring. I want one. Copy it, I told her. Make me a copy. I remember going through her scrapbook when I was young. Because there were pictures of her in the ring, during a wrestling match. Of course, I embarrassed the shit out of her when I, was in grade school. My mother was a wrestler. Everybody looked like, what? Yeah, my father was a boxer. Two people you didn't piss off in my house. Not the greatest of childhood memories. I remember telling my shrink that. He would. I was like, yeah, my mother was a wrestler and my father was a boxer, and he was like, what? Did I hear that right? Yeah, write it down on your notepad, Doc. See, that's one thing that in a way pisses me off. When you go through pain management and you're on all these medications that I take, you have to, mandatory, 4 times a year, go meet with a shrink. So I tell him some of the most off-the-wall shit. I'm sure when I walk out after my appointment, he's like, oh, Jesus Christ, that guy's fucked up. Over my head. I'll never forget the first time I had to go. I said, Doc, he goes, that mandatory. Okay. I haven't seen the same one twice. I got a new one I got to see next month. I said, another new one? I said, I scare these people off. I never see the same person twice. Yeah, you got to go. Here's your appointment. Okay. So between now and next month, I'm thinking a lot of weird shit to tell him to screw his mind up. That one, when I told them, I said, yeah, my mother was a wrestler, my father was a boxer. Say again. You heard me the first time. Explain in detail. What's there to explain? I guess he couldn't figure out how a wrestler and a boxer got together. Don't ask me, I wasn't there. That was one thing neither of my parents talked in detail about how they met. To this day, I still don't know. It was like a taboo subject. But how did the two of you, must have been some top secret meeting. The FBI and the CIA got together and put the two of them together. Two special agents, I guess. I got one story from one of my aunts that said she was waitressing in an all-night restaurant. And my father come in after a night at the bar. But that's about all I got. I guess love is blind. They argued so much. I don't know, first of all, how the hell they didn't argue to the point where, they were able to get married. But it was constant. I'd look at the two of them and go, what made the two of you come together? It's like they couldn't stand one another. The old bullshit, we have to stay together for the kids. It would have been more peaceful if they'd have got divorced. Then they wonder why I'm screwed up. It was just constant. Yeah, in 1948, my mother was a professional wrestler. We used to have, at one time, Cleveland had an armory. And the wrestling and the hockey and everything, when Cleveland had a hockey team, it was down at the old armory. And then the boxing was at a different armory. So how? Yeah, because 47, my father was a Golden Gloves boxer, which is like, I don't know, like semi-pro or something like that. I know in order to make it to the rank of Golden Gloves, you got to be good. So he was Golden Gloves in 47, and my mother was turned pro in 48. Because she wrestled semi-pro for years. And then in 48, she turned pro. And my sister's got all the scrapbooks. Pictures of my father standing there in his gloves. But talk about a combination. And all they did was fight and argue. Of course, they were both alcoholics, so that didn't help. It was not a pleasant place to grow up. Believe me. I talk about it freely now because they're both gone. My father barely made it to 66 years old. My mother made it to 97. And she probably still would have been around had she not got COVID. Oop. You're not allowed to say that. The virus. And I think, well, we all think, she went on some senior trip. They went to a movie or something, and I think that's where she picked it up, because she rarely during that time left her compartment. She took some kind of senior trip, even though they were all masked and everything. But 97. And still getting around. And still had her faculties. She probably would have made it to 100 had she not taken that trip. Me and my two sisters, we think that's what happened. Even though they were spaced out on the bus, and wherever they went, they were spaced out and masked and hand sanitizer up the ass. Because it wasn't too long after that she got sick and ended up in the hospital. Then ended up, and they say that's the worst part, because once they put you on a respirator, very rarely do you come back. I've lost four to that virus. My mother and 3 friends. And my smoking buddy down the street. I miss her. Julie used to stop here every night after work. And we'd sit in her car and we'd bullshit and smoke cigarettes. And I'd tell her, I said, well, why don't we go in the house? She always said, this is our little private office. Nothing goes beyond these windows. Okay, Julie. But every night after work, without fail. And then she'd feel bad on the weekends when she wouldn't stop. I was like, that's okay. And the shocking thing is, we were in that car. She had a Ford Focus. Well, she had the Focus, and then her grandson totaled the Focus, and then she had a Hyundai. And even though she had the 2 shots, she come down with it. And I would, let's see, it was what, 2 days before Thanksgiving. She stopped. And then the day after Thanksgiving, her daughter called and said, Mom's in the hospital. She's got breathing problems. Now, Julie always had breathing problems. Well, we find out that the breathing problems were from the virus. And then 3 days later, Julie was gone. And boy, did I run up and get tested. I come back negative. And we weren't masked up in the car when we were sitting there smoking. So I dodged a bullet. Speaking of dodging a bullet, I think it's time to play the old outro. My stomach's starting to feel like my throat's been cut. Where's my stylus? Oh, I lost my stylus again. Oh, there it is. There it is. Outro time. No! Damn it. We know where and when right here, WDWL TV. When that clock hits 7 p.m. And with that, thanks for hanging in with me. Tell Mom it was real enjoyable meeting her. I hope she comes back again. I didn't scare her away. And with that, have a wonderful rest of your evening. And we will meet again tomorrow night.